Yeah. So now, anyway, firstly, Happy New Year. If I didn't see you on the New Year time, I mean the Chinese New Year particularly. And it's a Chinese New Year is why it's important in some way. Maybe not necessarily for American people understand that, but I mean to an American usually you understand the years as like like 2014 and 2015, and then it's a new of the year, so and then you think that would be everyone hope to have a good New Year. But the Chinese, it has much to do with even horoscope as well, because we have these the years of this year is the years of the goat, last year was the years of the horse, and before last year was the years of the what is that? The dragon. I think the dragon or the snake. The snake actually, the snake. And before year was a year of the dragon, like that. So and why I want to say it had this horoscope significance, because still, Chinese think that like if you were born in the years of the horse like me last year, it was born of the years of horse. You still kind of, even though you believe or not, you still have something in your mind that you think, this is the bad year of you. So and so I mean, not only just you hope there's a good New Year all the time, just good wishes, but it's also that you don't want this bad year really affected you, and then and you kind of understand this will be a difficult year. Like last year was my difficult year. I mean, to the Chinese way of understanding, so that you have to really want that this difficult year being passed, and then you go to the year of the goat, for example. So normally, it's not necessarily, to be more precise, and now we're talking about horoscope now. To be more precise, it's not necessarily saying about something you believe, it's just that there is become a culture. So it's not necessarily that who were born in the year of the goat and will be the bad year this time. But it's also have to be more precise, they also have to look at the whole time when you were born, and then what time you were born, because the Chinese way of counting is that your month, which month you were born. You see, the month is also 12. We have 12 zodiac animals. So and then the time also in Chinese is every 2 hours is one animal, one zodiac. So I need the time, because I learned this in the past, so that's why I can tell you something simply. So and then like the time of your born. But particularly if you fall, let's say you were born in the year of the goat, but then you also month it was year of the goat, and then your time is year of the goat, you definitely have a very difficult time. Really? And also, and also it also has to see whether this time it's belong the year of the fire element, or what kind of element, or the gold element, or the earth element. And then if you really have too much of fire, and then the year of the time is still the fire, and then you really have a much more crash. Anyway, so give you some idea. So that's why the year in Chinese horoscope, I mean the Chinese year, New Year, is important. As I say, it's not just because of New Year. It's also, they have a very great horoscope impact. So people who believe that, this will be my bad year, then they really have to be very careful for the year. And it's not always a good thing. So the New Year, for some people they knew, it's the year coming, we have to face difficulty. And then certainly they will find all the ways, go to temple, or maybe be more generous, or be more what they need to develop the virtue so that they can be have let the year pass. So very different from the Western idea. That always thinking the coming year is always good. No, it's I guess it's maybe a little more like the life philosophy that sometimes you have a good year, sometimes you don't necessarily have a good year. But of course, the hope is the same. Everyone must have the good year, and what wish the year would be get better. All right. So anyway, that's what the New Year is about. Now we back to this our Pali reading of the Pali Sutta, the Satipatthana Sutta, the mindfulness of breathing. Mindfulness, the four foundations of mindfulness. The text is about the four foundations of mindfulness. Okay, and I think last time, because on the page 31st, certainly it was just start to say, the text was, this particular Buddhist text was delivered in where? Were delivered by the Buddha in a place, in a country called Kuru, and then in the town called Kurus, and then also actually the town name is called Kamasadhamma. Okay, of course, then they have so many in the commentary. There are lots of explanation, and why it's called Kamasadhamma as well. And so then they say actually the name the Kamasadhamma sometimes not necessarily called Kamasadhamma as Dhamma, but only Dhamma. In Pali, Dhamma means the teachings or the law. But if it only without H, just Dhamma means taming, 条幅 in Chinese. So Dhamma. So that's why the name perhaps maybe can be understood as a Kamasadhamma, not Dhamma. It means that's the taming of the Kamasa. Okay, what does it mean? And then there's a story saying, because in those people in those days, even long ago, the Buddha. So that traces back to the long history about the Buddha before he was born, and then before he was born as a Buddha, or basically before he became a Buddha. So he was born there as a bodhisattva, and then he also kind of really brave, and then he helped the people to tame those cannibal people there. The cannibal people who have a significant kind of feat, not a fetish, okay, but it's just a significant feat, and then they just really, anyway, so Kamasa is mean the speckle, kind of speckle feet, because it can be understood Kamasa Pada. Kamasa Pada basically mean the kind of colorful feet they have, and then they're the cannibal people, and the bodhisattva, they was born there, and then to really tame them, and then that's why the town is called Kamasadhamma. Anyway, this is how the Buddhist tradition try to link it that way. We don't know the fact, okay? So anyway, and then we just know that this is a place that, and the people here usually Kurus, because they have a long hair, they like to fasten their hair, in a particular way. And then this text was there, but nowadays the people find this place, Kamasadhamma, they said this is a place that actually near the Old Delhi, in Old Delhi, in India. And the Buddha, the blessed one, so from here he gives this a very important text. This is what the Satipatthana text is. And then the next paragraph, generally it's a very Buddhist way to arrange a text or so on. First you need to, or maybe even the Buddha will speak that way, that the Buddha generally would say, basically here mention what is the significance of this, going to say, how important they are, the content, how important, what are they, not what are they, but how important of the content the Buddha is going to speak about. So that's why this is it's not about, it could say, oh, this is a content, it will be help somebody to attend the jhana or attend something, or attend, maybe can be avoid from evil, right? But this is say that very clearly, the text the Buddha going to say is a path that can be really overcoming the sorrow and grief, and then disappearance of the pain and discontent, and the attainment of the true way, It's not attainment of, sometimes it's not clear whether it's true way or not true way, but it's only basically the true way, and then the realization, the Nibbana. Here the true way refer to that someone can be attained the sainthood. As I mentioned that already, the word here, the true way means. So how many are they? Of course, not one, not two, not three, but there are four. Okay, this is there are four. So that means the four, it's the contemplation of the body with regard to the body, contemplation of the feelings with regard to the feelings, contemplation of the mind with regard to the mind, and then contemplation of the phenomena or the mental phenomena with regard to the mental phenomena. Okay, so there are four. So that's how they almost like introductory. So sum up the introductory, and then the first thing. Then we back to the first one. No, I'm not sorry, and that's also important to say. Even somebody who are fulfilling this, who are practicing this 4 foundation of mindfulness, he have to work ardently, and then have to be equally aware and be mindful, and then that will, and basically it will be help you to overcome the covetousness and the greed for the world, okay, or of the world, something like that. The grief and grief in the world, I guess, maybe in the world, okay. Okay, now first one is contemplation of body. What does it? I think that we say that already. Basically, the Buddha said it very clearly. So it's that the monk, if they want to practice this, so idealistically, they will sit down in the forest or at the root of the tree, or any empty house. I guess the empty house here maybe refer to not the place that really full of many things and many people are really playing around or dancing or singing. So not abandoned. It's just like a kuti, basically mean a simple house. So and then they having crossed leg. So and then they will adjust the body posture, and then they will put forward their mindfulness in front of the face, right? That's how directly translate from the Pali. Put the mindfulness on front of the face. So and then now this is the first one will be introduced is about the breath. So that's why it say firstly, ever mindful he breathe in, mindful he breath out. So this is just a kind of a very simple thing you need to start with. Mindfully, ever mindful you breathe in, ever mindful you breathe out. It's almost like you need to be breathing naturally, kind of thing like that. It's kind of have this kind of connotation there that you just breathe naturally. So, and then when the breathing in long, he knows I'm breathing in long. That means when the breathing become long, and he knows that the breathing is long. When the breathing out long, he knows he's breathing out long. If the breathing is in short, so he knows that I'm breathing in short. When it's breathing out short, he knows I'm breathing out short. Okay, so that's mean breathing long. He's breathing long. Whether in breath and out breath, breathing out short, and then it's short. Either it's breathing in or breathing out. Yes.
Is this any different from the Anapanasati Sutra?
No.
It's like almost copied from it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Because it seems exactly.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
But only up to the.
This is the reason why at one of the explanation, it's one of the explanation. What does it mean here? Because it mentioned this is one path to the purification of being. Okay, so that's one reason why when you explain that one path, what does it mean? So the explanation, according, we prefer to call unified path. We translate not one path. Translation always have to do with understanding of how you understand the text. No, because of what is mean ekayana, mean one path. But the one path can mean there's only path, no any other path. But look at the commentary, it never carry this way. But commentary only carry that one path mean because this is a path will lead you to Nibbana. Okay. When you say only path is a little too strong. No any other path. But he would say it's one path mean because this is a path, that one path that will lead you to the Nibbana. I guess also Chinese, even if you look at some other Chinese master, they prefer this way of reading too. But then they also, one path also could mean because the path is taught by the Buddha but not the other. And also one path also can mean it's only in Buddhism, that which within the Buddhism. So otherwise it's not the other. So, however, if you look at the etymologically, so that for the modern research, especially when you look at the Sanskrit, so far the sources we have, whenever you use the word one path, called ekayana, and this kind of connotate the wording, so it's always the word mean is a unified path. It means that you are going to talk many things, but that all these kind of elements, but you being unified to, that's meant by the one path. And this, of course, if you look at that way, it means, which I prefer to, that it means that all the different methods being unified in one, and they will have this kind of result is to someone that overcome the sorrow and grief and so on at Nibbana. So that's why if the question asking the mindfulness of breathing, is it exactly the same? Yes, the first four exactly the same, the mindfulness breathing, because mindfulness breathing as a Buddhist text has 16 steps there, right? And here I only mentioned 4 steps. But that also been unified in this system so that help you to overcome the grief and sorrow. It makes more sense in some sense, in some way. Yes.
Okay. The short, long. I always had a little problem with that because ultimately we want to not compare. And that's kind of a comparing mind, short, long, short compared to what, long compared to what. So I think of it more in terms like we start off just being aware of the breath. Then you have the short and long. And then you have the beginning, middle, and end, right? So the way I see the short and long is not so much the short and the length. Actually, that is how I see it. I see it in terms of length, not so much short and long. Because I don't even know how Buddha could have said, wanted us to use this kind of comparing mind in terms of length. To me, it seems like he would have just wanted us to, if we're going from just being aware of in and out, and to being aware of beginning, middle, and end, I think the in-between would be being aware of just the length.
I think, that's the reason why. Of course, firstly, if you are, this is the more that we study, we have more resources to compare. So let's firstly look at how the path of purification, which is especially in Pali Buddhism, like a Theravada Buddhism, take it almost like the best way of explaining. But of course, I have to also say that certain monk or certain tradition, even from the old time until now, not necessarily take that so serious. Sometimes they disagree with that too. But I'm saying that in general, if you take that the path of purification, 清净道论, as the text to explain, the short, of course, is mean the length of the breath, the short breath. The long mean the length of the breath as the long breath. Actually, and he also see a kind of he also use some simile, like interesting simile, like almost like the ant is have a very short breath, and then the snake have a long breath. Okay. But I guess my understanding, the way they explain this, or my understanding is actually why we have to know the short breath and the long breath. It's just because then your awareness become very clear. It's not like you develop this kind of clear comprehension. It doesn't mean that you really need you're not forcing your mind because it doesn't mean that now I'm short, I'm long, I'm short, not like that. But you just know you have different variety of breath.
Yes,
and one breath is different than the other.
Why would Buddha say short and long though?
Yeah, no, this is a good question, but this is I'm going to give another answer. Then you might be perhaps that even come to the mind of some other Buddhist groups, or so-called according to the Yogacara Bhumi, or so-called Yogacara Bhumi was believed to be earlier school was belong to the Zhennyambu or Samitiya school. Okay. That's complicated. Anyway, in Buddhism, after the Buddha passed away, maybe 300 years, you split so many different schools. And the school have many different opinions about many things. And especially because they have been hold up a system there already. And with the system, they try to protect the system. Not necessarily they completely disagree with other mean in a very strong way, like I need to kill you. I need to say that. It just, they have become a kind of, you could say, a system. I would say the system. Like I always say they're almost like you are the Toyota car or the Honda car or some other car. You all have a major part of machine, but you have a way to how you emphasis on machine is different. Okay, I'm not engineer. I guess they might be supposed to different. So like that, say that Yogacara school, how they explain the long breath and short breath is not like the Pali. At least, I don't know earlier time how Pali understand, but I'm saying that based on the path of purification, long means the length of the breath, the short and the long. But in the Yogacara school, they understand the long breath mean as a whole, the breath or the long breath. The short breath mean that there's a very short and very quick interval of the breath. Like you're breathing, before you breathe out, there's a very short interval of the breath there. So that's why you have the long breath and then short interval of the breath mean turning. So there's a turning very quickly. That is a short breath. So if you know the long breath and then you know the interval breath, first you must know the long breath first. Right, in and out. And then later you only know the short breath, mean the turning breath. And then now you go to the third step, mean the whole breath. The experience the whole, the long, the interval mean the whole breath. But it seems like this is more convincing in some way. Yeah, but however, even so, if that's true, but then it's another interesting comes. Because if that was, we believe that might be that's the only way the Buddha explained, somehow the Pali system somehow don't know why, and it understand the long breath as just the long of the breath, the short breath mean the length of the short breath. But then, if that is true, but then why there's another school, the Sarvastivada, we studied Abhidhamma in the past. So, especially in this Mahavipassa, I mean one of the so-called almost like the encyclopedian of the Sarvastivada school, explain the long breath and short breath kind of like similar way, but important is like that. They say, we don't think that, even the Buddha say, the long breath take place first and the short breath take place after, because the long breath first, right, is always, the formula is always a long breath and then later the short breath, right? But it is just, then they don't agree with that actually, this commentary. They're very bold. They even wanted to say, it shouldn't be understood that way. You have to understand actually it should be the short breath first. And then, because when they do meditation, they first only observe the breath as short. Because after, when they're good at observing the breath, all the breath become long. So, and they turn they knew that the sutra, I mean the text, the sutra, the Buddhist text say, should be the long breath, but they say, no, we should understand as a short breath. So they turn the system. They say, first meditate on the short breath, and then meditate on a long breath. Now, this is interesting here. If they do it that way, that indicates that they don't practice the long breath and short breath as the Yogacara school I just mentioned, right? So, okay, I hope that explains your question. But I just give you, don't jump into one correct answer. So, but the more you read it, the more you understand. Okay. But I think we are going to talk that a little bit later.
I think your question is generally why Buddha differentiates
the short and long breath.
Yeah, because it's like differentiation is absolutely crucial because you have skillful and unskillful actions. So your mind has to be very clear.
No, a comparison.
Yeah, well, it's not comparison, it's distinction.
But to say short means
yeah, but it's not comparing
to something.
But it's
that's
not a
long.
comparison in terms of good or bad. It's comparing the
good
clarity, how clear your mind can be. So it's after clarity of the mind rather than the comparison.
Yeah, I get that that's the goal, but for me, I just practice with length. I don't use the word short and long.
Yeah, you don't use it. No, the word. No, there's another question. The word, when you say the word long and short, it's just because of language. No, you don't. When you practice, you don't. But of
In Pali, like what's the exact translation?
no, the exact translation is long and short,
Oh.
of course. But I want to say it's just because when you put it here, it's a language, right?
But I always had an issue with that.
Yeah.
And I follow this, so, for me, it's important, but.
But if you look at the wording, you understand. He say when he's breathing long, he knows it's long. It just want to say you cannot do like that. Like when he's breathing long, he knows it's short. Of course, that is. It just, in other words, just to stress that when someone have the long breath, they know that when there's a long breath, he must know it's like that. When there's a breath becomes short, and he know it's like that. So.
And the breathing stops. If you go deep into absorption, breathing
Well,
stops.
not that quickly, but the thing is though too, if you look at the two that it's in between, which is the first is just being aware of the in and out, and then on the third one it's being aware of the beginning, middle, and end. So what would come between? Not so much long and short. It would be the general sort of length of the breath.
No, actually no. The third one, what you say, it didn't say that from the beginning to the middle to the end.
That's fine.
It's only say, look at it on the page 32 now. The third step is
The whole.
he learns I shall breathe in experiencing the whole breath.
Oh, Bhante Ji says beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah, but then the Visuddhimagga, the path of purification, explain what does the whole breath mean. The whole breath means the whole of the breath. Okay, let me see. I shall breathe in experiencing the whole body. Now, actually, not the whole breath, the whole body. Sorry, I spelled it wrongly. So look at this. We are going to discuss very detailed now. Okay. Actually, when you look at it, the part is Sappakaya Pati Samvedi Asasi Samiti Sikkati. Okay, the part is that Sappakaya Pati Samvedi means experiencing like Samvedi, almost like collectively you feel it. Okay, collectively you feel the whole body in breath. So, okay, he studies as such, Now that's why usually we translate means breathing, experiencing the whole body. Now, according to the Pali text, not the part of purification, the whole body being understood, the whole body of the breath.
Right, the breath body.
The breath body, yes, the breath body. So, and then it is suggested how when you practice that, when you practice the breath body, so it's very hard to do, to know so clear the breath body. So what you need to do is first you know the beginning of the breath, the middle of the breath, and the end of the breath. Sometimes you might not necessarily can be so clearly know the whole, like the tree, like beginning, the middle, the end of the breath, and then you might know the beginning, the end, you might know the middle, the end, or the middle, the beginning. But this is how you know that you need to, if you can aware the tree section of the breath, basically it could mean the beginning, the middle, and the end, then you will know the whole body of the breath.
Which doesn't bother me as much as the short and long. For me, beginning, middle, and end is fine. I like to practice that.
But you now, okay, that's fine. But then that you know the aim, so you can jump. When I say jump, I mean you might not necessarily take long time to practice that. So that certainly is much to do with the teacher, how they teach. But don't forget, still, if you look in the long run, sometimes when you come back to practice, this is just my idea. So why the formula is still put there? They must have the meanings. The meanings is because, like he's kind of saying that if you know the breath, now I have a long breath, I have a short breath. I don't necessarily have to know my whole breath. Maybe at first when your mindfulness are so strong, you don't have to go on that, but then you can know the whole breath, fine. But supposingly, that's how the Buddhist understanding. If you know the whole breath, if you want to know you have a long breath and short breath, it's very easier to do that. Okay. Now, why I want to say this because if it according to the most of the tradition, not all agree with that, but most of the tradition, when you go to this whole breath, if you are good in meditation or everyone is different, but generally, so the limiter should be appear. Okay. Now, when the limiter appear, even though when you're just only knowing the whole breath, the length of the breath, right? But once you have the power, actually, even when you're just only knowing the breath, just a long breath, a short breath, the limiter will appear too. Okay. Of course, I cannot say that, so I don't know why the Buddha, maybe because just for the number's sake, like, we need to have 16 number, we cannot have 14 number, because if you cut off the long breath and short breath, like, so we never know. There's a lot of discussion about this, whether it's because the number you need to, then you...
Just a general framework.
No, I mean, no, but you have to remember that in those days, they take it very seriously, they take it very serious.
So important.
So,
But not for Goenka, we just lost the body.
Well,
yeah,
that's 2 days of breath.
no, that's another,
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying there's so many
But this
interpretations.
is Satipatthana. Satipatthana
But
is
he says he's
crucial.
doing Satipatthana too.
now we're discussing the text now, right? And then we really take it like, what the number. So you could argue that, oh, no, actually, the long breath and short breath is not necessary to be there. Not necessary, or you could, actually, some tradition put this long breath and short breath as one of the system, like long, either the long, either the short. Some tradition put it that way too. So anyway, that's another issue.
To somebody who's the PhD on that. So.
No. Okay, so okay. So do we have answer already? Do you have any questions? No. Okay. No. Yeah, it's good to have sometimes have a little detailed discussion too. Okay. All right. So, but then we need to also understand in Chinese, for example, like Kumarajiva 就是鸠摩罗什 he at least in one of his meditation texts, he mentioned the whole breath. It means the third one mean breathing, experiencing the whole body. To him is mean the breath in the whole body.
Yeah, like
Going in the whole body, and you feel the whole body like a frog. Expanding, contracting, expanding, contracting. And he even said if you can meditate even more subtle, and you could feel the pulse open and all breathe like a lotus root under the water, under the pond or under the water. So it's still there's a different way of understanding it
But it
too.
seems like it all works as long as you have the
Yeah. So of course it should be. If it's not working, I guess.
it works.
Yeah.
It all works.
But I'd like to know specifically what Buddha.
We don't know. That's why I say then
Yeah,
it's given the different. But now this is that's we're going to come to the next one. It will be easier to understand, and then to say. But of course, it comes to the question, the next one, because the fourth one is I shall breathing, tranquilizing the bodily formation. I should breathe out, tranquilizing the bodily formation. Okay. So, but if you take this, the whole of the breath as the breath in the body, so tranquilizing the bodily formation become very difficult to understand too.
That's right. That's why it says very clearly tranquilizing the whole bodily formation.
So, but if you take that, the bodily formation as the breath, take the breath, and then to make more sense in the sentence, at least mean tranquilizing the bodily formation, it refers to tranquilizing the whole of the breath, right?
But they both work. Either way.
Okay, anyway, no. I'm just saying that if the Kumarajiva, at least not only Kumarajiva, but at least I just quote of him. So say that the breath in the whole body, then the tranquil. But he said that also very clearly. Actually, literally, he also used the same system. Means when the breath in the whole body, the next step is you have to be subdues your breath. So why? How he explained it? Now another way, interesting. He explained it because why it subdues the breath? Because the breath is also the body activity, because that's for sure in Buddhist teachings, because the breath is also a production of the body.
Otherwise, you
So,
kind of get into
so
honest.
it doesn't really, not necessarily being away from what the bodily formation. I mean, you could argue from Pali system saying that, then how can you explain this as you are subduing or calming this bodily formation? But he said, no, you can, because the breath is a bodily formation.
But what does formation mean? What does bodily formation mean exactly?
Just let me look at the Pali first.
Tension.
Sankhara. Okay, the word sankhara, the formation, like, when you talk about a fire aggregates, you also have these formations. Also, sometimes you could say all formations are impermanent, sabbe sankhara, anicca. So, all formation has the nature of impermanence, right? So, formations, if you look at literally, the word sankhara, it's mean from the sankheti, basically means something being made out of it. Something that be made. Something is made, is called.
From ideas, nose, tongue, body, mind.
No, for example, I have a notion. The notion comes because it's made. And or my breath is made. Because if the person do not have the consciousness to Buddhist understanding and don't have the body, the breath will not be there. And it has to have the condition that there should be the consciousness and there should be the body. For example, a deaf person would not have breath because the consciousness has gone. So the breath is made. Okay. Sankhara actually literally means being made. Anything that, so in Buddhism means only thing that is not made is Nibbana. All the thing is made. Okay. Buddhism don't say all concept. Of course, concept is being made too. So formation, the word sankhara, is much bigger. Everything. So according to Buddhist teachings, especially in Abhidhamma, all the thing is sankhara, except the Nibbana is not sankhara.
So when they talk about calming the bodily formations, we're talking about everything that's made.
Yeah, but here, of course, it's very clear referred to the breath. Okay, calming this thing that made, bodily made, that is a breath. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Can I say the last thing about breath? If you paint your body with paint, you die of asphyxiation. So that means we breathe entirely through our porous skin as well, not just through the lungs.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Okay, then look at the simile and we'll be done of this. Basically, the simile say, so just like a skill turner, right, or his apprentice, and his followers, in making a long pull, he knows making a long pull. Making a short pull, he knows I'm making a short pull, and so on. Actually, I don't really know very well, but once I saw in India, there's people are still using a kind of machine doing something. Next time I should really video it. And because we don't have this kind of livelihood anymore, so I don't really know what does a big significance,
It's turning, right? So you kind of go like this. So
yeah, but I don't know what they're doing. With the thread? I'm not showing what does it mean long and short to them. What does the significance to them? But as I say, I just know they are using a kind of machine turning, and then that's all I know. And but I guess the simile must be really close to, if they are really working on this, they really know why the long and short is so important for them. I don't know. I cannot talk about that. So, okay. But I want to say is that according to this commentary understanding, or the path of purification understanding, or any traditional understanding generally, so-called is the old material, that what I know, is that after if you are not in the third stage, but definitely on the fourth stage, when you come in your breath, so your limita will be appear. Even though limita is maybe not necessarily very stable, but it will be appear, But if you are in traditional language, mean if you are good karma, it means it might be you have established a good virtue earlier time, whatever, or it might be just the first time you practice, but then while you're doing the whole breath, meditating the whole breath, then you should be able to see the nimitta appear already. So this is the reason. Generally, it's been understood, agreed that when you're in the fourth stage, the nimitta about to be appear. Okay.
Because nimitta is very purifying, isn't it?
Yeah, it's because in the nimitta appear, of course, you can understand as because the nimitta translate in Chinese called xiang, okay, but sometimes we translate as a sight also in English. But I still like to use the same word, nimitta. So and then this appear, it's just to signify you have subdued, even though not completely, but you kind of subdue the 5 hindrances already. Okay. So
the Chinese has the nimitta, but the Pali doesn't. It's interesting.
Just a minute. The Chinese, no, Chinese doesn't use the word nimitta. Just only talk about the 4.
Light, right? That there is
Yes, that's very clear. Because if you look at the Chinese version, it said particularly it's after the 4 jhana. So and then they start to mention about the jhana that you've experienced within the bodily experience. And then the 4 jhana, the first jhana, the second and third jhana. And then after that, it will mention that at the day and night and all the time, you have to just protect the light. So that's, if you look at the previous chapter, previous version in Chinese. So, but the Pali didn't, at least here, they didn't mention about this, but okay. So I just want to say, it's all agreed in all traditions so far I know, is that I'm talking about old material. Of course, young material, some masters say, oh, you don't care about this, or something like that. I'm talking about the old material that all dated back before 7th century, okay? So they all will agree that time they definitely your nimitta will appear. So that's the reason why the 4th step has to be mentioned, I guess. Okay.
But if you're sitting down on a daily practice for 45 minutes to an hour, and you want to calm your breath, and there's no nimitta, I mean, I don't experience.
I think there's another question, but this is a meditation question already. My understanding is this: it should be.
It's what?
It should be. If it not, this is the interesting back to the question. It's not, it's because you get used to kind of like the breath, you calm the breath, but might be actually your comprehension, your mindfulness is not very strong. So this is the reason, I guess. Now this is back to actually I did argue in one of my, I won't say argue. My debate is, okay. My logic is like that. That's the reason why the Buddha say you first know mindfully in breath and out breath. It's kind of like carry away the meanings, mean relax your breath and know that you're in and out breath. And then you know the long and short breath. It's a kind of become you have a very clear understanding of your breath. But let's say I have experience like long breath, then I have short breath, long breath. But then I don't care now because I think this is but then you jump to like, I just try to calm my breath. But the calming the breath, maybe you think you're calming the breath. There's nothing personal, okay? Just saying that maybe you think you're calming the breath.
A lot of people don't get nimitta.
Maybe
there are many schools of thought about that.
No. I disagree with that. I would say.
I don't know. In America, we have monks that are.
No.
Bhikkhu is against totally nimitta.
Against it.
No. Against doesn't mean to.
Well,
No.
Doesn't promote it. He says you could do without. You can go jump.
No. This is another. I think this, you jump in other question already. You against doesn't mean there's no nimitta. You don't want it. You don't care about it.
Yeah, I think he says focus more on.
Yeah, the same as actually Buddhadasa. Okay, Buddhadasa also one of the very famous Thai monk who passed away. I know one of the professors was his student also. He's really still doing his work or translating his teaching from Thai language he translate all this project into English. And I know Buddhadasa against it. But as I say, he said very clearly, when the nimitta appear, you ignore it. It doesn't matter. It's not saying that there's no nimitta. This is two different things.
Right.
There is other monks that says you don't. He doesn't.
I know, I've heard
There are many
also.
schools, and there are many people that don't get limited.
No, I'm explaining this already.
Sorry.
My understanding, you must get limita. It's just only, firstly, whether you really practice accordingly.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Second, and you have the limita, and then you can ignore it, so that when it become ignored for a long time, so it's so as if like you don't see it anymore. And then thirdly, this is my argument. That's why the Buddhist text said very clearly, when you meditate, you have to put the object right in front of you. Now, if you want to against that, you don't have to be, definitely you don't put the object right in front of you. And then you need to reinterpret the system that what does it mean by put right in front of me? Not mean here, it mean just mean you focused. You know what I'm saying?
Because that's the parimukam. Yeah.
But then my interpretation, or I might be, as I just said, that back to the 7th century old tradition. I don't, not that I don't care. I do read them things. I'm so old tradition. I still think, yeah. I still need to think what they think in the old time, and now modern time, I would say fine, read it and look at, know their thinking. So if you don't put the object right in front, of course the limiter never appear. Why?
Because you're not looking.
Because you don't look at it. I don't know how to say.
But you started getting limited since you were a child, though, right? You started.
Yeah. That's why I really believe it. It's not because I was a child.
But there are many people that are very
it's-
good practitioners that never see it, but they're still great practitioners and teachers.
I think when you talk about nimitta, it's like a.
I don't know why the limiter become a very
Controversial.
big subject. Okay,
Well, it's very
we are here to discuss the teaching. Okay, don't just say Dhammadeva say that.
Yeah.
And I'm not authority. Okay, I'm just we are only class. I will just give you what the material we have, and that's it. Now let me write, because some people are confused what we are talking. So let me just write. The Chinese limita is this. Okay, the Pali is limita. Actually, the Sanskrit word is exactly the same word. And sometimes we translate in English called sign. Whatever, sign. So there are so many translations. So usually we don't like to do this translation. But it's believed that the limita means if you meditate on the breath, the image of the breath should be will be, the word limita means the image of the breath will be appear. Okay. So, and this sign will be appear in front of you. So what does it look like? Usually it looks like a milky, like a kind of milk, but it's a semi-transparent kind of milky disc in front of you. So that's the reason before that appear, even that mentioned in the power of purification. So if you meditate on this that time, so you might be seeing, some people first, before seeing the milky white disc right in front, you might be seeing the light, or maybe the light can, like a fluorescent light, one tube. It can be one side, or some people could see the smoke. All these are also a limiter, but we have many terms. Those who study the power of purification know that, okay? I just said that already. If you are to meditate, because in Zen Buddhism, for example, in China, I cannot talk on their behalf, just I know, I asked them. They also say they don't see anything, because they never look at the front. They only just meditate, kind of like, I guess. So you just don't look in the front. Don't put the object right on the front.
They
They
do
also
it
keep their
eyes
eyes
open.
open.
Yeah.
A little.
But no, that's another thing. You're right. Even keep the eyes open.
You can still.
If you want the limiter appear, the limiter when your eye open still can be
Still.
appear, still there. Okay. And there's yes, you're. I don't really was so interested in limiter. All right, yes. What?
But in my case, it's not in front, on the top.
No. But that's fine. But I mean that. I don't mean the light. It's just some disc, like a round disc.
Image, right?
No, I'm talking if you meditate on the breath should be in the front. But whether it's top, it's still in the front. I want to say no. It's just a kind of sense of thing. You just see something right there. I want to say that.
Where does it say in the front? I know it says in the beginning, mindfulness in front of
It's
you.
just
but-
No, he said that you should put your mindfulness right on the front.
So that's what you're talking about. when
Yes.
you say that's putting in the front.
Yeah. So, but then of course, and then because if they don't want this, or because they don't believe this, because I don't know, this is just my suspicious. It could be because they don't put that on the front. But they can be still very well aware, but they don't put the mindfulness, the object on the front. Okay, that's my. And also, sometimes even though you might know you're calming the breath, because you don't go the step first, like a long breath and short breath, give them a little time. Even the same thing, because that actually help you to build up this kind of, I don't know, maybe kind of build up your attentiveness right there. So if you know the long breath and short breath.
As you said, said that eventually when the breathing becomes so subtle.
And then also, it's also interesting if you don't, my way of usually telling the people, if you want to check that, it's easier because you don't know whether you really are good at calming your breath. That means you go to the fourth step of the mindfulness of breathing. So then why don't you just go back to like you only know your long breath and short breath. Can you know it clearly? Because if you can go that, so the fourth step, you're supposed to be can knowing the third step or the second step or first step so well. But if it's not, that means you are actually still drowsiness, thinking you are calming your breath. But the drowsiness actually overtaken actually your mindfulness already. So this is even within my own experience, I know that. So sometimes you thought you are calming your breath. Yeah, I calm my breath because you know the skill already. But however, your mindfulness or your focus, your comprehension, your concentration is not there actually. It's just kind of concept doing a thing. You are not redoing it now, right there. Okay, see that whether it's true or not. It's just a concept doing it.
Isn't it also possible that because myself, I'm a good meditator, but I haven't actually recognized the nimitta, but I've heard people say that it's there, you just don't know to acknowledge it.
Yeah, it could be. I also sometimes answer that question to people, but as I say, this is still doesn't help very well for practical reason. So that's why I say if you can meditate on the fourth step, you're supposed to be meditate the second and third will be very easy. Yeah. That's a good way to check it. Yeah. So. But then otherwise you become you're just lazy. I mean, the mind can trick you a lot of things. Then the mind trick you like, I can do it. So confidence is very good, but you do it, but actually you are still with a lot of, the five hindrances still there. Like your awareness is not very strong. But then I'm calming the breath. You see, I'm calming the breath. But actually you're almost like sleeping. So.
It's tricky.
Okay.
So,
the mind can trick you in a very subtle way.
Yeah,
So for you, it's the nimitta is very important.
That's a way to check whether you have concentration.
And it sounds like you think it's the only way to check. Oh, the best way.
Yes, the safe way.
Safe.
Okay. Right? All right. Okay. But the next one is a little bit tricky. Here the tricky is here. We're reading the text, okay? We should back to the text because otherwise you never learn how to read a Buddhist text. Okay? And then the next one, he said that in this way he abides contemplating the body with regards to the body internally, and he abides contemplating the body with regards to the body externally, or he abides contemplating the body with regards to the body both internally and externally. That's very difficult to explain that. Okay, so we can skip a little bit later, because otherwise we might not going to move on that. But this is almost like, of course, if I will explain so far, allow me to say it that way first. Like this is almost like a formula, okay? Like because if you put this kind of formula here, So it will work for people who are very good or who are not good. But it's kind of like suggestion that, but whatever, but you still know you need to work on that internally and external, how to say, interchangeably. Okay, interchangeably. And, but not only that, then you need to also observe this, the body in observing the arising of the phenomena, and also understand the ceasing of the phenomena, and also understanding the arising and ceasing of the phenomena. This is the main thing about the. This certainly is for the wisdom part. What we are talking in the before is mostly for the concentration part. Okay, all right, get it now. Understand?
Is that the entire Anapanasati, or
There's 12 more steps.
No, the entire
but it ends with.
yeah, because no. Okay, let me just say, I could explain this way, because if I want to explain this sentence, the below sentence incorporate with what is breathing, the fourth step of the breathing, then I can explain it like, first, you have to know your in-breath and out-breath, and then you have to know there's a long breath, but then even the long breath, you could see the long breath and then the short breath, but you could understand the long breath arise and the short breath ceased, and the short breath arise, the long breath cease. You know,
Right.
you could. This is more like the. That's the reason why in the Buddhism, in the commentary, sometimes we explain the text. Sometimes we can explain the text in terms of the samadhi, the concentration, or in terms of the insight meditation or the vipassana. Or sometimes they don't use the vipassana. They say in terms of amoha, asamoha, mean in terms of no ignorance, no delusion. 无知无知的修法或者定的修法. So if you're using this so-called in terms of the non-delusion, then we will explain. You will start to see the breath. Either the long breath will arise and also cease. The short breath will arise and cease. Okay. Even in more Abhidhamma way, you could see even the long breath. They also have within the long breath. There's arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing, arising and ceasing. Then the long breath cease. And then the short breath arises, and the short breath arises, and so on. So you still see the ceasing and arising of the breath. Okay, and that's why I say it's. I mean, depend on this. The text itself. Some people see how you regard the text. I myself regard this text is almost like a menu, but well thought menu. And they want to almost like, because you need to memorize the text by heart. So it's a well thought menu. You need to almost like put every possibility in there. Sometimes, of course, you know, logically sometimes might be not necessarily work on one way, but the main thing, you know, Buddhism is always about wisdom, but it works for the wisdom part. So that's why this also has to be limited. This is, I know it's a little bit not a very good explanation, but I don't know how to explain that.
It's a ceasing phenomenon too. Sometimes it could be also the breath stopping, right? I mean,
yeah, because when you stop the breath, also you're ceasing the phenomena, right? Okay, and also it's dependent on the person. If the people who are highly attached, when you see the breath as stopping, so and then within the cease, they could recognize the cease itself as a cease. In other words, mean there's no arising. Okay. So, you know, when there's nothing is arising, so this is not a formation. When it's not a formation, it means it's a nibbana. So that's why ultimately in the Buddhist teachings is always the wisdom is the main part of it, right? Okay.
But you can't just jump into the wisdom, so you have to follow the steps so you can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Usually because the teaching is always not to go into a very deep one first. So. But this formula should have to put there, otherwise it doesn't fit with people. If you don't put this below formula, the below statement like what we just read there, then it cannot work with people who have a highly attained or highly experienced in the meditation. Okay, because they can still see this all within the breath. Okay, get it now? All right, good. We could read the next one. We should have a little break. Okay. And then the 4 postures. And what is it? Again, he say, okay, bhikkhu, when a bhikkhu is walking, he knows I'm walking. Of course, this is not like the same way. It's not like when walking, I'm walking, I'm walking. No, of course. It means that you know you're walking, you know. Usually people walking, they're thinking. They don't know they're thinking. They're walking, they are moving, they don't know. Let's say they might be eating, they don't know they're eating. So in other words, mean whatever you're doing, right there you know what you're doing. So when standing, he knows standing. Sitting, and knows sitting. Lying down, he knows lying down. You know. So in whatever posture his body is, he knows it is in that posture. In this way, he abides contemplating the body with regards to the body internally. In other words, mean if you want to practice the contemplation of body as the body, so whatever the body action is about, you just know it. So that means you're meditating